It should be kind of a quick video, hopefully, maybe, possibly. Anyway, just a response video. Somebody sent me a PM, somebody kind of special to me. That's why I'm responding to it. Just inquiring whether I had any videos on the subject of 9/11, and I don't know. I probably mentioned it in about 5 or 6 videos, but I don't think I have any video on the specific subject. I don't know if I do. So yeah, you can't really search my videos because I don't do the tags right. It's all true. And then half of them are broken, so no, not half anymore, quarter. But anyway, so yeah, I'll just, wasting all this time explaining what the video is. So anyway, yeah, I didn't write anything down or think this through much, but yeah, most conspiracy theories I have a hell of a lot of doubt about, especially when they involve more than like 3 people, because yeah, there's just too much incentive for people to spill the beans or whatever, to make money on exposing the conspiracy. So it just isn't going to work. It's like the stupid alien story. I was always just, the Area 51 thing didn't make any sense to me, because I'm saying, oh yeah, they find a spaceship, they send a bunch of, you're not going to send like important generals, part of the CIA to go look at the fucking spaceship. No, you're going to send a bunch of grunts, the guys that are disposable, just in case they get irradiated or there's some kind of bacteria on the aliens or some other crap. So it's going to be a bunch of guys making shit for money, with some ex-wife who wants money and all kinds of burdens and problems in their life, alcoholism, who else knows, who's going to be hauling these little aliens off to Area 51. And what are you going to do, kill them afterwards? I mean, come on. There's just too many hands in that kind of conspiracy, and there's too much money to be made exposing it. So it just can't, no way. And then let's go back to like even the Kennedy assassination. I mean, that's the one close to my heart, as he was shot on my birthday. And people whined and complained, oh, there's no way a bullet could do that. It couldn't like go through him and then hit Connolly in the shoulder and then, bounce off of there and then go into his knee. And sure it can. I mean, I've heard stories of bullets that, bounced off people's heads, went into their torso and then ended up in their kneecap. I mean, bullets bounce around a lot, especially big giant rifle bullets. They can do a lot of moving around. They can go a lot of places before they finally come to rest. So that was just always so bogus. Like, oh yeah, no, it couldn't happen. Bullshit. Happens all the time. Alright, so let's get to the 9/11 thing. So there's this whole thing, first there's tons of evidence already disputed. I mean, they come up with some crazy theory, like an airplane landed somewhere and they attached a bomb to it. I thought that was the funniest one. That was the one that was funniest to me anyway. So they attach a bomb to the airplane and then fly it into the building. Like somehow it needed a bomb. You have probably one of the most, per pound, one of the best explosives possible is airline fuel. I mean, that's why they put it in airplanes, is because they get a hell of a lot of power out of it for its weight. That's why they use it to fly airplanes, you idiots. So if you attach a bomb to the airplane, one of the best fuels you could use in the bomb is frigging airline fuel. So it doesn't, so what, you're going to add another, 7 square feet of airline fuel, and that's somehow going to make the difference? I mean, that's going to be the difference between the building blowing up and not blowing up, or they're catching fire? I mean, that was the silliest argument, was that they need to spark the fire. Yeah, right. A plane flies into a building at 400 miles an hour and it needs something to spark the fire. So, I mean, just silly talk. Then the whole crap about steel buildings never fall down, this never happens. Well, all that was explained because of the blow-on insulation, the explosion. Nobody anticipated an explosion. They didn't think about there being a huge explosion before there being a fire, and the explosion knocking all the insulation off of the steel, So, I mean, it's explained. You could see it in the pictures of the building buckling. It's, where it gets, fatter because the steel is buckling. So you can see it happening. And once a floor collapses in that kind of structure, it's inevitable the rest of the building's going down because of the huge forces that are above it. So if there's any more than 1 or 2 stories above where the first floor collapses, the rest of the building is fucked just because of the pure physics. You can't move that much weight 10 feet there's nothing that's going to stop that momentum. It builds up too much inertia, whatever the right word is, mass moving force, too much force, that there's nothing that's going to be able to resist that force, and certainly not an already degraded building. So whatever, the collapse is just, it's perfectly explainable from the evidence, from what was obvious, what was apparent that what happened. Terrorists hijacked airplanes and flew them into the buildings. It doesn't require CIA agents planting thermite or any of this other crap. Just think of the scenario again. You got a bunch of these guys making who knows what, $50,000 a year, and here they're involved in this huge conspiracy to attack the whole you know, economic structure of the United States, and they're not going to take a few cell phone pictures for posterity, for an insurance policy. Come on, there's no way such a conspiracy could be maintained. It's just ludicrous, preposterous, it's illogical. Even the very idea of initiating such a mess, such chaos, how could you possibly control it? What would prevent? You saw the reaction of George Bush, and he's sitting in that little classroom. He had no fucking idea. He starts flying out to Nevada, you know, from Florida. If they all knew it was going to happen, then they would orchestrate it to make George Bush a hero. He'd fly directly to Washington, D.C., and he'd stand on the White House lawn, you know, with an American flag in his hand, say, "We will not be intimidated," you know, or some kind of bullshit. I mean, you know, they'd do the macho thing to the end, you know, if they knew it was happening, it was going to happen. So that's just a pile of shit. Just on so many levels. And like I said, this is, so you're creating a chaotic circumstance, risking the entire economic infrastructure. If somebody else had stood up, like an Obama or somebody else had stood up and made some kind of eloquent speech about how this should be, you know, and said, let's take the images of those people jumping out of this building and let's use this image to stop this. Let's never have, you know, innocent civilians used as fodder for you know, political conflict ever again. And let's, you know, made some kind of eloquent statement that it stops now. You know, there'll be no repercussion. There'll be no violence begets violence anymore. You know, it's time to do the damn Jesus thing for real. You know, let's bury all hatchets. And let's try to find enough rational people in the world to say no, never again. But instead we had a president who said, yeah, let's destroy the Geneva Conventions, let's destroy whatever worldwide constitution we have, any worldwide ethics we have, and you know, play the retribution game to our advantage. And so yeah, that could have gone either way. So how the fuck can you make a conspiracy out of this shit? There was no way they could control the aftermath of that event. There's no planning, there's no nothing, there's no way that was a controlled reaction. So it's just silly. It's just silly nonsense. You know, people with an agenda. They don't like something, so they're going to turn into some kind of, it's not an ugly enough monster, so they have to make the monster uglier so they can sell their bullshit. And the bullshit they're trying to sell now, most of these people, is just generic anti-government crap because they don't want to pay taxes, you know, or they don't want socialized medicine, or they don't want some other thing that's going to be a manifestation of having a functional United States government. These people are just terror downers. They're not builder uppers. You know, they're not going to make a better world. They're not arguing for that. They're arguing for a Darwinist, we're going to take more. These are the greedy fucks that are behind this. I mean, that's the real conspiracy, is the conspiracy of the anti-government hysterics, because they all have a motivation that doesn't have anything to do with making the world better. It just has to do with them not having to deal with the blacks, or not having to deal with the welfare, or some other kind of bullshit they're going to point their finger at and say that's the problem with the world. So fuck that bullshit. So anyway, longer video wanted, but you know, it's still under 10 minutes, so it's almost acceptable as a shorter video. All right, it's not really acceptable. I just said that. Sort of a conspiracy, just propaganda. You know, I say it, you might fall for it if I say it, and that's basically what it comes down to. Just a bunch of people saying shit because they're trying to get people to fall for the shit. But that's all it is. So, till next time. Which will be shortly because I have to make a whole bunch of videos. I don't have to. It's not a conspiracy forcing me to do it. I'm just choosing to make some videos because there's things that need to be responded to. Okay, that's probably enough. Yeah, till next time.